Shalom. All praises, glories, and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Makakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught me this truth, as well as men of like mind. Shalom wa kasa to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners that have the appearance of the other heathen nations, but are Israelites, according to the seed line of your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Ratazah. This lesson is edifying. Now in today's lesson, we will expound upon this article entitled, In Sweeping Power Grab, DOJ Seeks Ability to Detain People Indefinitely Without Trial, uploaded by zerohedge.com. It states, in a sweeping power grab, the Department of Justice has asked Congress for the ability to go directly to chief judges in order to detain people indefinitely without trial during emergencies. Now, the word indefinitely means for an unspecified time or period, for an unlimited time period, without a fixed limit, forever, for always, for good. So they want to have the ability to detain people without limit, without trial during emergencies. Okay, which right now we are in a global lockdown due to the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, which, whether it be real or fake, it is a plague of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through His Son, Yahushai. Okay? Not to mention you have the antivirus, which is another plague, which had recently killed one man in China. And there are other plagues as well that they're not speaking about on the media. We also have the plague of locusts in Western Africa that are destroying, eating all the crops. So these things are judgments from the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through Son Yahushai, upon the earth, upon the wicked of His people, and also the wicked, which the wicked is the red Hebrew Edomites, which, pursuant to the book of Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, is the wicked, beginning with their hegemony, in whose hand, which in the Hebrew is Yad, which means strength or power, the earth has been given into, pursuant to the book of Job chapter 9 verse 24. And now we are in a time in where the wicked, Esau, Edom, is coming down, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time, pursuant to the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter. And they shall be like madmen, sparing none. And this is an example of such, of when these devils, when they're ready to completely lock down New York City and other cities where the coronavirus has killed people, they're going to come down having great wrath, like madmen sparing none, because they know they had but a short time. And it just so happens that New York City has the highest deaths due to the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, more than China, more than the rest of the world. So you see, these devils are using this as a means to ultimately enforce their New World Order agenda, which is to ultimately mandate the chipping of the oikoumene of the inhabited earth with the RFID market chip, which, pursuant to the book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 16 on down, is a mark of the beast, in which you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners, you are not to take the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant, which is the mark of the beast. Now let's read on. The move is part of a recent push to expand government powers during the coronavirus pandemic, according to Politico, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Polistio. Anyway, it says, which has reviewed documents that detail the DOJ's request to lawmakers on this and has a host of other topics, including state of limitations, asylum, and how court hearings are conducted. And this should remind us of the book of 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, in where it states, their houses shall be spoiled. Because Esau, Edom, when he comes down having great wrath for his Gerger troops, his martial law troops, his military troops, they're going to be breaking into the homes of you Israelites, of you people. Okay? Detaining you. And a lot of them are going to have their own personal ways with you. They're going to rape your wives, your daughters, and kill your sons right in front of you. Spoil your house. Take all your goods. And these things are written in the Holy Scriptures, man. This is prophecy. And we see prophecy coming to pass every single day. We are in the times of Jacob's trouble. The move has tapped into a broader fear amongst civil liberties advocates and Donald Trump's critics that the president will use a moment of crisis to push for controversial policy changes, right? Because they want to pretty much take away the rights of the people from the people. Okay? That's what they want to do. And they will ultimately. And then they will enforce their New World Order agenda once they have reached the fullness of their sufficiency. That is when they're going to be in straits, because the Lord is going to put a stop to it all. Now let's read on. Already, he has cited the pandemic as a reason for heightening border restrictions and restricting asylum claims. And there's a saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. These elites around the world of Esau, Edom, and these other nations, they're using this global pandemic as a means to crash the global economy, taking it into a bear market in order to buy back stock so that when it goes back up, they'll be able to make a large net income, and at the same time use it to further push and to ultimately in the end enforce the New World Order agenda of the elites of Esau, Edom. Okay? And Esau, Edom is the ones that are ultimately, giving out the orders to these different powers on the earth and what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And we see that because they control the earth. The earth has been given into their hands. He has also pushed for further tax cuts as the economy withers, arguing that it would be soften the financial blow to Americans. And now they have recently passed a $2.1 trillion stimulus bill, and where you people are going to be receiving checks in the mail of $1,000 plus based upon your statuses and your eligibilities. And people are going to look at that as, oh, Trump is doing a great thing, Well, we can trust in the government. They're going to take care of us. But the scripture says, woe unto them that trust in Egypt. And also the trusting in Pharaoh, roughly paraphrasing, shall be thy shame. Roughly paraphrasing. Okay, because the Israelites, you're comfortable in Babylon the Great. You want to keep staying in this man's kingdom. You don't want to be, you don't want to look forward to the kingdom of the Lord, Yahushai, who you ignorantly and willingly call Christ, His true and only name is Yahushai. Yah means he, and Hahushai means delivers. He delivers. And the true and only name of the Father is Yahweh. Yah means he, and Hawa means exist. He exists. Yahweh, he is. Not no Jehovah, man. You Israelites, you're going to learn through death by pain for your rebelliousness. And even without policy changes, Trump has vast emergency powers that he could legally deploy right now to try and slow the coronavirus outbreak. Let me see. Politico. Politico notes that the requests are unlikely to make it through the Democratic-controlled House. As part of the request, DOJ proposed that Congress grant the Attorney General the ability to ask any chief judge of any direct court to pause court proceedings whenever the district court is finally or partially closed by virtue of any natural disaster, civil disobedience. And right now we see civil disobedience because even though these different governors across America, Babylon the Great, has passed laws of, getting together, and curfews and whatnot, people are still doing their own thing, especially over here in New York. People are not taking heed unto the governors and the higher authorities. They don't care. And that's all in the scriptures, which we're going to read. In these times, the times of Jacob's trouble, or other emergency situation. Similarly, these top judges would have broad authority to pause court proceedings during emergencies. Additionally, the requested changes would explicitly say that people with COVID-19 cannot apply for asylum, a request that comes on the heels of a Friday announcement by the Trump administration that it would begin denying entry to illegal immigrations, to all illegal immigrations at the southern border, including those seeking asylum. According to Politico, the changes would apply to any statuses or rules of procedure otherwise affecting pre-arrest, post-arrest, pre-trial, trial, and post-trial procedures in criminal and juvenile proceedings, and also process and proceedings. As we have heard from those in the legal profession, however, the courts have already ground to a virtual halt amid the Chinese coronavirus outbreak, as jurors aren't coming in and face-to-face. The positions aren't happening right now in many parts of the country. The proposed changes have raised concerns of the implication for habeas corpus. Now, what is that? Habeas corpus. Habeas corpus, a right requiring a person under arrest to be brought before a judge or into court, especially to secure the person's release unless lawful grounds are shown for their detention. The legal right to apply for habeas corpus. You shall have the body in court. Literally, you shall have the body in court. The right to appear before a judge and seek release. Oh, they already gave the definition. Now, not only would it be a violation of that, but it says affecting pre-arrest. Said Normal L. Reimer, who heads up the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, so that means you could be arrested and never brought before a judge until they decide that the emergency or the civil disobedience is over. I find it absolutely terrifying. See, times of Jacob's trouble, especially in a time of emergency, we should be very careful about granting new powers to the government. Rama added that the notions of chief judges suspending court rules during an emergency indefinitely is deeply disturbing. And this, actually, there's a little bit more. So let's just finish it. Let's just finish it. It says that is something that should not happen in a democracy, he said. The department also asked Congress to pause the state of limitations for criminal investigations and civil proceedings during national emergencies, and for 1 year following the end of the national emergency, according to the draft legislative text. Trump recently declared the coronavirus crisis a national emergency. Another coronavirus request, the department is looking to change the federal rules of criminal procedures, in some cases to expand the use of video conference hearings and to let some of those hearings happen without defendants' constant consent, according to the draft legislative text. Video teleconferencing may be used to conduct an appearance without under the rule. Read a draft of potential new language, Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 5F, crossing out the phase if the defendant consents. Video conferencing may be used to arrange a defendant. Read draft text of Rule 10C, again striking out the phrase if the defendant consents. Last two paragraphs. According to Reimer, forcing people to have hearings over video conference versus in person would threaten civil liberties. If it were with the consent of the accused person, it would be fine, he said, adding, but if it's not with the consent of the accused person, it's a terrible road to go down. We have a right to public trials. People have a right to be present in court. And all these things are going to pretty much be thrown out of the window. Because right now we are in the times of Jacob's trouble. And so with that, let's read the scriptures and conclude the lesson. This is the book of 2 Esdras, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. The word woe means destruction. And the Lord is saying destruction to the world. To whose world? To the world of Esau, Edom. To the rulership of Esau, Edom. To the eon of Esau, Edom. And them that dwell therein. And who are the ones that dwell in the kingdom of Esau, Edom? Under the rulership of Esau, Edom. Esau, Edom, so-called Caucasian race, as well as 2/3 of the nation of Israel, as well as all the heathen nations. So woe unto them, as it is written right here. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. Now what is the sword? The sword, pursuant to the book of Psalms, chapter 17, verse 13, is the wicked. Now who is the wicked? Esau, Edom, the red biblical Hebrew Edomites, pursuant to the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4. Okay? They are the sword, along with the ICBM nuclear missiles, which are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. Okay? And Esau, Edom's blessing was and is the sword. And a sword is an instrument of cruelty. Okay? A sword, modern day, comes in the form of guns, grenades, rocket launchers, machetes. Okay? Spears. So the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So there's going to be race wars over here in America, Babylon the Great, and around the world where Israel has been scattered. To this very day, the Yellow Vest protests has still been happening over there in France. People are taking to the streets and protesting against the higher authorities. So we're going to see a huge race wars, man. You're going to see Israel fighting against these different nations, man. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another, like the purge and like the road, like the book of Eli. There's going to be sedition among men and invading one another. Why? Because the love of men, as it is written, as Yahushua told us, pursuant to the book of Matthew chapter 24, verse 12, the love of many shall wax cold. And that is why people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, division, which is the definition of the word sedition, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And we see that. We see people not regarding their kings nor their princes, their higher authorities. The place is supposed to be locked down, supposedly supposed to be locked down, but people are still going about wherever they feel like, whenever they feel like, however they feel like, you know, past hours of so-called curfew, you know, throughout the day. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's gonna get real bad out here, man. It may seem as if it's not as crazy right now, even though it is, but it's gonna get worse. And let's be reading it right here. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because the bridges are gonna be closed, the roads are gonna be blocked. There's gonna be martial law, total lockdown, and we see that right now too. On a large scale, man. People can't even leave their homes. People can't even go from state to state, country to country, because everything has been locked down. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. And we see that the cities across America, Babylon the Great, are troubled because of this COVID-19. And thus the government have taken action to lock down and ban certain stuff from happening. And they've brought in the martial law troops, the UN troops, military troops, and now they're preparing to send reserves into the cities. Because the cities are going to be troubled soon with insurrection, with men invading one another, with martial law, with death. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So all you proud men out here and you proud women, when things get a lot more worse, you're going to be afraid. Your hearts are going to fill you for fear of the things that the Lord will bring upon America, Babylon the Great, and upon the rest of the world, which is controlled by Esau, Edom, in whose hand the earth has been given into, pursuant to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. People are going to blow their houses up, man. We're all going to their houses, kill the husband, rape the wives and the kids. And even men are going to be sodomized by these foul Edomites, man. Because Esau, Edom is a faggot by nature. A sodomite, man. That must needs to be put down. Must needs to be put down. Edom is dumb. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. So it's going to be 70 AD 2.0 over here in America, Babylon the Great, and things are going to be a lot worse because guess what? Cannibalism is coming back in a big, big way. There's going to be a lack of bread out here, man. And more so a lack of bread of hearing the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The famine of the word. And for great tribulation, for great trials, for great tests, for great death. Because the Lord is going to unleash the sword also in the form of four kinds. The sword to slay, the dogs to tear, the fowls of heaven to eat the flesh, and the dogs, the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy, roughly paraphrasing, pursuant to the book of Jeremiah 15. And they shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither their bodies are going to be gathered, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, roughly paraphrasing, pursuant to the book of Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 4. And during that time, the slain of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, shall be many, from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth, pursuant to the book of Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 33. And so with that, I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Until the next, I say Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, B'Shem HaKakodash, Barakatam. Stay strong, bros. Lord willing.